Pankaj. Hi
Yeah.
everyone. Welcome to today's session on fundamentals of privilege access management. Today we are excited to have Pankaj Kumar with us, a seasoned professional with over 14 years of experience in identity and access management domain. Pankaj has worked with top platforms like Beyond Trust, Delinea Secret Server, and CAPM, helping organizations enhance their security and efficiency. Beyond his technical expertise, Pankaj has also trained new hires in the IAM domain as he loves breaking down complex topics into the simple ones. And so today, get ready for engaging session as Pankaj shares his expertise and takes us through the essential of PAM. So feel free to ask questions, guys, and make this session as interactive as possible and have a good learning experience. Over to you, Pankaj.
Thanks for that introduction, Kishore. Well, let me share my screen. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes.
Yes, Pankaj.
Okay, so let's start with the session. The today's session's topic is fundamentals of privileged access management. Okay, so we'll be discussing these points. What is PAM? Key components of PAM, benefits of PAM, core PAM function, and how organization can start PAM journey. And we will discuss about major PAM vendors in the market, and also we will have a few minutes for questions and answer, like questions, queries. Okay, so what is a privilege account? Okay, so a privilege account is a type of user account with more permission and access right. Uh, One second. Let me just then a standard account. Like standard account, everyone, right? Whenever someone joins an organization, so she will have access to uh, email account, the company network, some shared SharePoint, right? Based on his role, right? So that is a standard account, right? Uh, he may able to use some application like Microsoft Office, but a privilege account is like having admin access, right? Example, system administrator, right? He can log into a you know organization's Linux server, right, or Windows server, make changes, install some software, right, access some sensitive data, or create a new user account, right, reset password, modify permissions. So it is a privilege account, right? So we have different type of users, right? You can see, right, privilege is everywhere, right? We have admins, which I just talked about. We have DevOps teams. We have some apps, robot RP account, robotic or process automation account, like non-human identities. We have third-party vendors. If you are working for any consulting company, then you work for a project, right? So you are a vendor, right, supporting that project. Okay, we have business users, right? You work from office, WFS. Some you move to some client location for some engagement. You use different type of workspaces, right? PC, Mac, mobile, right? So yeah, so we have privilege everywhere. Yeah, it, no,
Hi, Pankaj. Sorry to interrupt.
yes,
Can you please put the slide on slideshow
uh,
presentation?
yeah, it's already in slideshow. You don't see it in slideshow. It's already in
No,
presentation
we
mode.
can just see the PowerPoint, the whole thing,
Uh,
where all the
please,
slides are being shown.
Okay, very strange. Let
I
me do
think
it
the
again.
sharing has only been on for a specific
Okay.
screen.
Okay, let me share it again. Okay, no problem. Let me share it again. Thanks for pointing out. Yeah,
Mhm. Yes, Pankaj.
yeah. Let me just share my whole screen. Okay, nothing sensitive is there. So share. Is it fine now?
Yes.
Yeah. So, privileges are like, if I talk right in layman's language, they are keys to kingdom. They are the crown jewels of any organization, right? So, if you have, best antivirus, you have best, EDR, you have best, uh, firewall, right? But if your admin password is password 123, then boom, everything is compromised, right? So all the organization, right, especially banking, right, uh, companies, right, who are in finance sector, uh, they focus on this privilege, access management, okay, and yeah, do regular audits, right? Every organization does, but mostly this, whenever there is a financial institution involved, they have privilege access management on their priority. Okay. Okay. So what is a privilege access management? Okay. Privilege access management, is implemented to protect the threats posed by credential theft and privilege misuse. Okay. It refers to a comprehensive cybersecurity strategy. It comprises of people, process, technology to control, monitor, secure, and audit all human and non-human privilege identities across all enterprise IT environment. Right? We have like Azure portal, right? There are Azure admins who will log in, right? So that needs to be protected. We have Linux, Windows, mainframe, right? Those needs to be protected. We have some automation job, okay, which are using some script, right? And so they need privilege, accounts to do the operations that needs to be protected, right? Also, we have so many regulatory and compliance requirement, right? So PAM helps to meet those control, right, and meet those compliances. Okay. How is it different from the stand identity and access management? It is a subdomain of identity and access management, right, which is focused on privilege identities or privilege access, right? So what are the importance of PAM in cybersecurity? Protecting sensitive information, right? Uh, Sensitive information like health data of a user, uh, credit card information, right? And uh, social security number. If you talk about in Indian, you know, uh, uh, Indian, like similar, we have Aadhaar card, right? That type of sensitive data, maybe addresses, right? Date of birth, all type of personal information, all maybe uh, plan for next product launch, right? So all that is sensitive. Uh, we can call it secrets also, right? These are the secrets, and like uh, it helps in mitigating cyber threats, right? So uh, if we secure our privilege accounts, we decrease the attack surface, right? Because privilege accounts have uh, elevated access, right? So they can be misused by threat actors to enter any organization's network and do the damage, right? So it helps in mitigating that. Uh, it helps in enforcing the principle of least privilege, right? So uh, least privilege, all of us know, right? It is the concept of providing minimum access, least access, which is required to do by user to do his or her job, right? So it helps in implementing that compliance and regulatory requirements, right? Like I mentioned, right, there can be SOX requirement, right? Most of the organization, right? Like PCI, right? Whichever organization is doing online payment, right? They have to follow some regulatory requirements, right? So it helps in maintaining that, reducing insider threat. Okay, so when we talk about threat, it's not always outsider threat, the bad people. It can be a malicious insider also, like who knowingly or unknowingly can misuse the credentials, right? Privileges. Enhancing operational efficiency, like uh, uh, we can integrate PAM with other technologies, right? To enhance the operational efficiency, like onboarding of users, offboarding of users can be automated, right? Instead of manually managing them, right? So yeah. Then we have audit and accountability, right? So we can, by implementing PAM, we can record all the activities. Most of the PAM tools now provide, a video recording of all the sessions which happens via it. Okay, and yeah, so one of the requirements of most of the this regulatory and compliance is that to have this records of all the privilege activity. So yeah. We can get some gain some analytics, like what users are logging on regular basis, okay, and what location they are using logging from, okay. So that ultimately help us to manage the risk, okay. And we can have real-time monitoring alerts, right? If we it comes with some tool, additional tool which is called privilege threat analytics, or it can be integrated with SIEM solution. So we can get real-time alerts, right? If someone repeatedly trying to log in with bad password, we can get notification. Then we have dashboard also, which provides like high-level usage of privilege accounts across the organization. Okay, so I have kept this presentation very independent, not focused on any PAM tool. Okay. So we have key components. So when we talk about PAM as a concept, what are the key components? Okay, so as we talked about privilege accounts, right? There are a lot of privilege account in an organization. They can be domain administrator account, the privilege user account, like the IAM team's account, right? IGA, access management, right? Certificate management team. Then we have local administrator accounts like root account, right? Or administrator account on the Windows server. We can have application account like WAS admin, right? Or MQA admin. Okay. Similarly, we have service account on domains controllers, right? And root accounts, right? Sudo accounts. These are the privilege accounts. They can be other like DB accounts also, like Oracle database accounts, different type of database account, Azure portal, like, or AWS portal, right? All the privilege account which are used to log into those portals, right? We have non-human entities, right? Service account, come under that, and RPA bot, right? A lot of automation happening, so there can be a lot of non-human privilege account also. So as we discussed, right, least privilege. So whenever we are implementing, using any PAM solution, right, we always follow the principle of least privilege. Provide only privileges which are necessary, and only to systems which a person is supposed to use or have business requirement, right? Uh, so uh, admin, system admin doesn't mean that he has access to all the servers in an organization. Maybe he's just supporting Windows, so he should have only access to Windows servers, right? Maybe he's supporting Windows servers of a particular geography, so he should have only access to Windows server of that particular geography. Okay, so yeah, that is least principle, and he should have only the required access. Example, right? If we have someone is managing database on any Linux server, or let's say Windows server, right? MS SQL or Oracle, he should be only able to use the database command. He should be only able to use the MS SQL DB, not that he is system administrator of the whole server, right? It should not be root all, right? And if you talk about Linux server, right, it should have only database related command access. Okay. Similarly, we have access control, right? So this is applicable for other IAM tools also, right? How do we implement access control, right? As I mentioned, right? Uh, uh, not example is system administrator. He should not have access to all the servers, right? He should only have access to based on his role, right? And only the commands which he is supposed to run. Okay. Uh, it can be controlled at the according to time also, right? If he's supporting in IST, right, we can restrict it to only allow him to log in during this time zone. Okay, it depends on organization to organization how they want to implement this access control, right? Sometimes he should be only able to log in from a particular location, right? Uh, the cyber space, right? So many attacks happening, right? So PAM help us to uh, implement granular access control. Okay. Please, guys, feel free to interrupt me and ask any questions. Okay. Though we have a separate section for question, but do feel free to interrupt me if you have any queries. Now there are core functions of PAM, right? So it is credential management, right? Like every endpoints, right? They have some policy, right? Like account should be changed password in 90 days, right? It can be for standard user. If you talk about privileged user, right, it can be less, like 60 days or 30 days, right? We can have network devices, right? Some router, Cisco router, right? It generally have SSH based access. Okay, databases as I talk, right? Oracle, MS SQL, right? Cloud applications, right? Various type of different type of admin access on Azure portals. Okay, according to different roles, right? So all those can be managed. The password for those identities can be managed via PAM. So second core function of PAM is session management. Yeah. So each session, right, which is initiated, okay, it is all the logs, right, activities are captured, right, when user logged in, right, and what kind of activity he did, right? So this is like a video-based recording, okay, for like Windows, and SSH also, okay, and other, if you integrate any other application, so they, those also get recorded, okay, and these are stored and they're kept for analysis, okay. So that helps, for if any priority incident happens. So traditionally, the system admin will go to the logs, right? It will check logs, but PAM, going to checking video recording of that sessions, right, via PAM will immediately give the issue when actually issue happened, right? Someone logged in and did some configuration changes, and so it is very easy, okay, if you have the session management enabled. Okay, the access management, right? So generally, in PAM, we follow role-based access control. Uh, it is, access control is determined by an employee's job role and responsibilities. Okay, location, it can be fine-grained according to the organization policy, right? So we use role-based access control because, it's very easy to manage, and also it gives least privileges, right? And it also helps us to meet the compliance, right? Then we have just-in-time access also. Most of you have seen that, right? In Azure portal, right, we have this PIM access, right? So it's a just-in-time. We don't want to have permanent access for few job roles, right? We just provide access whenever they require it. Okay, it can have approval workflow, right, and time duration, right. Okay, there is something new concept which is coming up, which is called zero standing privileges, right, which only grant access when user wants, and it's removed after that. Okay, so yeah, role-based access control help us to mitigate the risk, okay, of having unlimited privilege for any user, right. Example I can share, right. Earlier, right, when the concept of PAM was just coming up, right. So, and anyone who needed access to privilege access to a Linux server, the system administrator will just go ahead and give it, root all. Okay, even database administrator and IAM administrator, right, who is managing the identities, they will have all. Okay, but when we this role-based access control came, right, this concept, right, so there was a lot of fine-grained access which came up, right. So we defined the role, right. System administrator should have root all. Okay, even there, if you want to restrict that, there are many tools, right. Host which have host-based control, right. Even we can prevent root user to uh, stop using reboot command, right. Okay, so these type of things. Then there was concept of sudo template, right. uh, like Oracle team will have only access to certain commands, okay, which is managed by the group. Okay, that kind of things. Okay, like if you talk about Windows, right, domain administrator will have access to only domain controllers. Windows administrator will not have access to domain server. Okay, only when they do some patching activities, right, then they are given temporary access, right, that kind of thing. Okay, so benefits of PAM. So so if you read all the cyber, if you are regular, you are regularly following the cybersecurity space, you will you will get this data every time. This that 80% of the databases are the result of compromised privilege credential. Okay, uh, let me give you some example, right. I think in 2022 or 23, attack happened on Uber. Okay, so some business users credential were compromised. I think the hacker got the credential via dark web, and he repeatedly, he got the credential, but there was a MFA enabled. Okay, so he repeatedly, user, business user repeatedly got the MFA prompt to approve. So he rejected, and there after some time there was a MFA fatigue, right? So ultimately he or she approved that. Okay, it was not a privileged user. Okay, so it was a business user. So once that MFA was approved, the hacker got the access to the environment, and he scanned the some SharePoints, and in one of the SharePoints he got some local account of a PAM solution. And since it was a local account, there was no MFA, and he got access to he got admin access to the PAM tool, and he was able to access all the privilege accounts for AWS portal, Azure portal, all the account. Okay, so if we would have the there was no embedded credential, right, in that script, right, which hacker scanned and found on a SharePoint. If they would have implemented application to application privilege access management, right, then that compromise could have been stopped, right. Yeah, so yeah. So it helped us to meet the compliance, right? All this, right, regulatory compliance, right? They have some kind of common requirements, right? If someone is using online payment, right? So they have to follow this PCI compliance, right? They have to regularly review the privilege accounts. They have to regularly review non-expiring accounts, right? Okay, they have to regularly review the permissions, right, of the users. Okay, SOX, yeah, we all know GDPR, we all know, right? So all of these are the common requirements, right? So PAM helps us to, uh, implement those compliance requirement. Okay, segregation of duties and rights, we know, right? Anybody has any questions on this slide or any previous slide?
Hi, Pankaj.
Yeah,
Yes, Sushil. So
yeah.
here during slide you discuss about a least privilege also. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
least privilege concept. But
Mm-hmm.
in IAM also normally means that is a in IAM also when we talk about IAM we say that access is given to the right user at the right time for the right period of time. Okay,
Yes.
so in
Mm-hmm.
IAM. Then how
Mm-hmm.
it differ from the least privilege? Least privilege, how it is differ from the IAM concept point of view? Could you just means what is the main difference between when we talk in terms of IAM terminology? Identity and access means management means right user should have right access at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Means we
Yeah.
are not giving additional access, but in least
Yes.
privilege also we say that user will get the access as per the requirement at the right time. So how
Yes.
least privilege is different from the IAM terminology?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good question.
Yeah.
Yes. Even initially, right, I had that question
Mm,
when I
yeah.
was just
Okay.
started.
Uh,
Yeah.
uh, uh.
See, so uh, so in identity and access management, right? And most of the access is standard access, right? Right.
Uh,
So that is also per role only. So PAM is subdomain of IAM only, right? Most of the
correct.
things which are
Mm,
applicable in identity and access management, it is
mm,
applicable in PAM also. Why we
yeah.
focus on least privilege access? Because it's
Yeah.
critical, right?
Mm,
We
mm,
don't want to give more access to any person, right? Because it can do damage, right? When we talk
correct.
about, right, even IAM, right,
Mm,
we should not give more access, right? The concept is
correct.
similar, right? uh,
Mm, mm,
but the why it's in PAM it's critical, right? Because it can create a havoc, right?
mm, mm, mm.
Let me give example, right? Whenever we are onboarding any Linux user in a PAM, right?
Yeah.
So in order to manage that, okay, we should have an extra account, like additional account, which is sometimes called a password management account, sometimes it's called RPC account, reconciliation
Mm,
account, right? So if we just should have access to reset the password for the account.
correct.
If
Means that
yeah,
is a access, additional
yeah,
access we should have. Yeah.
yeah. If so, where while configuring that provisioning that account, right, on Unix system, right, the system administrator we should provide exact command which the account should have. If we just
Correct.
tell him, right, hey, this person needs password, should be able to password manage the password for the other user. You system administrator, right, uh, so he because personally I have seen that, right, the system admins, they have more priorities, right? So
Mm,
sometimes they provide over access because when they give just sudo all to that. So sudo all is
mm.
very, it gives every command access. That account can reboot the server also,
Yes, correct. Mm,
right?
mm, mm.
Right. So if we provide that access, it will be able to do his job. It will be able to reset the password, but it can do another thing also. And that's a risk.
Correct. Mm,
That's why
mm.
we focus on least privilege access. That's why we, though, a PAM administrator will not have access to, you know, uh, give the, permission on endpoint, right? But
Mm.
we should have knowledge like how this access should be provisioned on endpoint, so that we can guide system administrator, right? He should not provide extra privileges, right? That's why we focus on least privilege access, because it's a privilege access. If you give more privileges, we don't know. I can give you an example. Okay, this is a real life example. Okay, once so this example is from back like 2012. Okay, there was PAM was just coming up. Okay, but privilege access management concept was there. Okay, the PAM tools were just coming up. Okay, so there was a priority incident. Okay, where a server was rebooted by a DBA. Okay.
Okay.
So I was involved like how, because I was managing identity. So I started my career from user access management. Okay. At that time, there was no PAM tool, So,
Yeah.
so we used to manage access via groups. Okay. So I checked on the server, right? So user only had Oracle group access and it has limited commands. There was no reboot command allowed. Okay. I was wondering how it, he rebooted the server. Then I took help because I had limited access, right? I could see certain, access only for any user. So I involved SA. Then he, just went through and later on he found that, before we implemented this least privilege there, user already has access to all via the sudoers file.
Okay.
Right. Right. So whenever, right, wherever it was provisioned that this group was created, right? So no one bothered to just verify the previous access what user had. So though he had access via group, right, Oracle access, but he already had that sudo all directly via sudoers file. So you see what havoc it can do, right?
Okay, yeah. Means first point is what you say that PAM is a sub part of IAM only. And in
Yes.
PAM also we are considering least privilege. That is a
Yes.
part
Yes.
of the IAM.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, I got it. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
And just a second, just curiosity. Now in PAM also, when you are giving access to the particular users and all this, there will be normally some approval workflow might be there, right?
Yes.
Approval, right?
Yes.
So there will be might be inside some workflow may get triggered, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
all this workflow, whether you can customize it also.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, workflow is there. Okay. But it has to be implemented on case to case basis. Okay. So
Yes, correct.
as a PAM administrator, right? We try to prioritize, we should give access, without password as much as possible. We prioritize giving, you can say passwordless access, right? User should be able to do his, job without viewing the password. But there can be some cases, okay? Example like the domain administrator, right? Sometimes they have to troubleshoot, you know, like AD connect issue, right? Okay. So at that time they need to, enter the password. There is a way to integrate that also, but that need a lot of customization, right? Okay. So
Yeah, customer. Yes, that's true. Means
yes.
for PAM learning, do you know? Means do any resource require any programming language? Means that can be added as a
Yeah,
prerequisite.
minimum. There is no like programming language required, but if you need to customize, right? Every PAM tool has a option of customizing. So you can if you have knowledge of tool sorry, any language, it will be good. Like it allows customizing through Python. It like based on the type of integration you are doing. Okay, like personally, I have worked more on Linux, so I have done a lot of customization using Bash script, shell scripting. I worked a lot. Okay, so yeah, if you have, it's good, but it's not requirement, because nowadays there is a tool called Auto IT. I don't know whether so it customizes many things. Okay, it's very easy to integrate. Okay, and it can create customized script. Okay, based on the clicks. Okay, so you can create third party integration very easily. But if you know,
Okay.
it's good. Okay, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Got it. Okay. Got it. Thank you. Thanks, Pankaj. Thanks.
Yes, so we have workflow, okay, and we can implement that. So as I was mentioning, for that AD use case, whenever most of the time AD administrator used to log in without knowing the password, but if they need, they can just request the password view, and we created a workflow wherein it will go to his manager approval, then the application admin, right, the owner of that Active Directory environment, then it approves, and it will be visible for some certain time duration. Generally it's 8 hours, and after that, when his job is done, he can check in. The password will rotate immediately, or if he doesn't check in, it will auto rotate after 8 hours. So that kind of workflow, it can be implemented.
Okay. Okay, sure. Got it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So the biggest benefits of PAM, okay, is operational efficiency. Earlier, back in the days, okay, so all the provisioning on endpoints, right, it was done manually, right? Especially in Unix, right? It's there because most of the organization don't have any, directory authentication for Linux servers, right? So it was a manual job creating, if it's a system administrator, right? Personally, it's my experience, we will have thousands of access to thousands of servers. So we had a script to do that, okay, but there can, it was a challenge, especially if the person leaves, right? Okay, we need to remove it as soon as possible, right? So a lot of manual work was there, and there were chances of human error, but uh, PAM came, and it had integration with SailPoint. Okay, even if you don't integrate, right? So PAM, it's it the concept, right? How it works? It works on shared privilege accounts. Okay, so there will be no individual account on the endpoints. It will be always a shared account. So it helps, right, to manage the access efficiently. When user leaves, we don't have to go and remove the accounts on every endpoints. Or when he joins, we don't have to add his individual account on every server. Okay, we don't if we talk about Windows Server, we don't have to add his account on every privilege group, right? So it's PAM is PAM has already done that in backend, okay, via shared accounts, and we just need to give him access to PAM to correct role, right? It become more efficient when it has integration with SailPoint or any other IJ tool, Savient, right? It is automated. Okay, nowadays a user who want access to PAM, they just go to SailPoint and they submit the request for required role, and when the next sync happens, he's got the access. Even the onboarding part, right? Even the certification, right? It was it's a regulatory requirement to have privileged users verified every quarter, most of the organization. So that is also automated. Okay, SailPoint. Okay, Splunk, right? Though the PAM will always, it will have an additional module to have privileged threat analytics. But if we integrate with Splunk, it gives more value, because Splunk is leader, right, in security monitoring, right? So we have a lot of use cases, right? Like I worked on one of the use cases wherein we created an alert from Splunk, right? Whenever sometimes, right, system administrator trying to add any user to administrator group by himself without going through PAM, so we will immediately get an alert. Okay, so that kind of integration, UiPath. In one of my project, we automated onboarding of privilege accounts from the server, right? Whenever a new server is onboarded, offboarded, I worked with automation team. They were using UiPath, so we automated all the onboarding, offboarding of privilege accounts. Okay, there was no human intervention. Okay, just that I have to verify end of the day if okay. So like 99.9, it was perfect. Okay, ServiceNow also, right? Uh, Ticketing, right? So whenever any user needs to uh, view the privilege password, right, instead of going to service, creating the ticket, then waiting for PAM team to give him the password, right? So we can integrate ServiceNow with PAM. Okay, so ticket is created, it's integrated with PAM. He can log into PAM and just check out and provide that incident number, and PAM will verify in ServiceNow if that ticket is there. So that saves a lot of time. Okay. Okay. So how an organization start a PAM journey? Okay. So first, a PAM, organization need to accept the risks. Okay. Okay. So what is a risk? Okay. If there is no PAM tool, okay, there is all provisioning is done manually, and there is no centralized solution to manage the PAM identities, privileged identities. They don't have any kind of monitoring. Okay, so uh, first organization has to accept that okay they are at risk, right? Uh, so most of the organization nowadays are at this foundation level. Okay, many years back, maybe 10 years back, most of the organization were at this phase 0 when everything was done manually. Okay, but right, to error is human, right? So whenever there is a manual work, there are chances of mistakes, error, right? Some right in one of the project I worked, right? So user removal, right, privileged user should happen within 24 hours of after user leaves the organization. So there was a lot of manual work. Okay, uh, but when we have PAM, this works on a fly, right? Just manager just has to submit the request in IG and his job is done. Okay, because basically IG, we have all the roles onboarded in IG, and user just need to be removed from that role. So it becomes very fast and seamless. Okay, so most of the organization will be in this or this. Okay, so when we have phase 1, right? So we implement the privilege tool, right? We have governance, right? We have IGA tool, right? We are we are doing certification regularly, right? All the onboarding is done on time, right? And all access is managed by a PAM, okay? So that is the first foundation phase, okay? Second one, right? When they integrate application accounts or non-human accounts, right? That is the second phase, enhanced phase. Okay, they have just-in-time access policies, right? uh, they want to analyze the current privileges. Even though they all the accounts are onboarded, right? The existing privilege needs to be analyzed whether any user have more privileges. So it's a continuous journey. Okay. Okay, now if they are done with that, okay, most of the organizations are stuck in this. Okay, and third phase, which is increase automation when we integrate RPA bot. Okay, and uh, you know threat analytics, right? We take action. Okay, okay, so that is adaptive. Okay. Uh, Now everybody talks of this AI, right? So we will see more innovation in this phase. Okay, uh, though uh, artificial intelligence has been there in PAM since it was using already having this behavioral analytics, right? So it was there. Okay, uh, I think it will we'll see more uh, progress in that. Okay, so this is like how organization can continue their PAM journey, and it's not, even if we reach this phase, it's not done. Okay, because cybersecurity space is evolving so much. Threat actors are using new ways, strategies to attack an organization. Okay, so this is key. This keeps on evolving.
Yes,
So
Mr.
yeah,
Pankaj, sorry to
yeah,
interrupt. My name is Suyukti, and I just have a question. I mean, such a great presentation, a lot of learning from this session. If you could please go back to that, the operation, that the slides, yeah, the one before this.
yeah.
Yes, I'm actually very curious, some basic question actually.
Mhm.
Has there been any use cases where they have also implemented both SailPoint and UiPath for PAM? Because like, I
Mhm.
mean, from what I understood, like SailPoint also provides that automation of JML, right? So how is UiPath all different.
Mhm.
So I just want to know that any use cases where they have used both SailPoint and UiPath and why.
Yes, yes. So I worked in a project, right? I was telling right about. So we didn't have SailPoint, but we have Savient. So these are almost same. So SailPoint or Savient was what it was doing. It was automating onboarding and offboarding of users. Okay, that right how it works, right? A role managed via AD groups, right? And certification, right? Every quarter is to send the certification to the owners. Okay, how UiPath? What was the role of UiPath? Okay, so UiPath. Uh, so on whenever a server is onboarded, right, created, right, in any organization for any application, right. So at that stage, uh, it becomes very critical to onboard the privilege accounts. Okay, if you miss that stage, if it's not onboarded, then uh, it will be very hard to do it later. So we focus on doing it at the time of onboarding. So what we did, okay, there was ServiceNow also involved. Okay, so what UiPath was doing, it had some bot account, okay, which was focusing on the privileged accounts, not the user. So SailPoint is doing onboarding, offboarding, and certification of users, human users like Pankaj Kumar who need access to PAM. But UiPath was onboarding administrator or root account of the server. Okay, so how it was integrated? We created an account. Okay, service account in PAM. Okay, so we gave permissions to uh, least privilege concept we applied. We gave permissions to onboards. So the two PAM tool was a Delinea secret server. Okay, so it has a tree like structure, like Active Directory folder like structure. So we give access to particular folder where we onboard this accounts, right, Unix and Windows. Okay, only to onboard the accounts, not do anything else, not any other folder. Okay, so also that bot account, right, it has access to ServiceNow and it had access to our queue. Okay, so whenever also ServiceNow form was designed in such a way that it has a specific field for server. Okay, and we worked, so it will pick, okay, Windows, this server, this Windows server. Okay, it will go back to the UiPath. Okay, so if it's a Windows server, what type of account I need to onboard? So we give instruction to that UiPath team. Okay, so if it's a Windows server, so admin one is the account which needs to be onboarded. Okay, and what would be the password? Okay, so we said, okay, we don't need to provide any password uh, because the tool has a option to manage the password on that server. So whenever Windows team or Unix team was building the server, right, they were we have given the instruction to give access to one our application account or service account for PAM. Okay, which will be able to manage accounts on that server. So we didn't we just provided steps to UiPath. So what kind of account needs to be onboarded, and it will we give the steps step one by one, like, okay, so it's how it works via API. Okay, okay, so we gave all the APIs for required, right, adding the account, rotating the password. So that was it done. Okay, and once onboarding was done, it was closing the request also. So both have different roles, right? SailPoint is or Savient was just onboarding users and doing certification, onboarding, offboarding, and certification of users. The actual privilege accounts onboarding was done by UiPath.
Okay, okay.
I hope,
That's,
yeah.
yeah. So in this use case, like only privileged accounts onboarding was taken care by UiPath along with the bot accounts and
Yes.
focusing kind of a workflow check, right? As to which server and
Yes, yes, exactly. Yeah. And we customize the ServiceNow form also, like, so that we have correct information, like there could so we integrate integrated CMDB with it. Okay, so that we have the correct server, right? Because if a requester is putting some incorrect server, right, if we don't validate it, if it's the correct server, then it can create a any account, right, and password will be unverified because that server is not. So we integrated ServiceNow, like we took that server field from CMDB. Okay.
Okay.
So that all so we don't have to take care of onboarding, offboarding, everything so automated, right? Okay. So
Maybe Pankaj Shantakumar. Now, UiPath, I think we have used only for onboarding the servers, maybe in terms of privilege IDs, or are we even the other assets also we are using UiPath?
yes,
Clarity.
yeah. So in our case, Santa, we onboarded servers, Windows servers, and their accounts. Okay, like we onboarded a break glass account. Okay, and for Unix also similarly we onboarded the root accounts like that. But uh, it can be used, since it's just onboarding it, right? It's not actually creating the account, right? It's just we have given the provider the value. It's just adding that. Okay, so other endpoints can also be automated. Okay, just that you have to work with the respective team, right, to create the account as soon as the server is created. So that can also be automated. Okay, also even the UI path, right? Whichever password it was using, right? It was application to application account. So that account password was also saved in PAM. So it was also fetching that password from PAM. Okay. So we can integrate A to A application account also. Okay. For me, like Telinia's, application to application account password management, right? It's very robust. It's very seamless. So also robotic RPA accounts, it was onboarding. Okay. So all the account which were used for automation was saved in the PAM tool. Okay. So as I said, right, but you have to work with system administrator, right? So all other endpoints accounts can be, onboarded via UiPath. That should not be a big challenge.
Thank you, Pankaj. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so once you onboard the account, so it's a continuous journey, right? So this is PAM life cycle, right? We defined what is the scope of account. We discover them. So this is just a fundamental session. If you have more detailed session in future, we can discuss about discovery, how you can leverage the discovery feature of PAM tool to continuously discover the privilege accounts. Okay, because if you do manually, there can be human error. Some accounts can be missed, right? So this discovery feature is very good, and yeah, we manage and protect them, right? We monitor their usage. We detect, right? We can dashboard, right? It gives like all the privilege activities which are happening, which are the account which are used more, which are the account where there has been no usage since 90 days. All kind of reports are there out of the box. You can get customized report. Okay. We integrate with SIAM. Okay, so we can get for any like one of the use cases, right? I mentioned, right? We implemented wherein whenever an administrator was adding any user to administrator group, we used to get incident or alerts. Okay, and we just review then audit them. Okay, it's personally, like I feel like there some manual intervention is needed, even though we have this all automated. Like we used to review every month, like what kind of permissions every group has. Okay, so that there is no extra privilege. We used to do that. Okay, we can fetch the report and we can review it. Okay, so yeah, so it becomes a life cycle. Okay. Okay, so these are the major PAM vendors. Okay, CyberArk, all of us know, is the leader. Even Delinea, it's a leader only in Beyond Trust. That Symantec, okay, I worked on this tool, and this not didn't get chance to work on CyberArk, but I have attended training session. I have been part of some POCs and all. This is Archon, which is like it is. Uh, uh, it's focusing on Middle East and South Asia. It's growing, uh, visionary. Okay, the Gartner, right? Gartner, each year it presents a report which it rates, it rates all the PAM vendors based on various capabilities. Okay, one identity also I have heard. It's is coming up in PAM space. Symantec, okay, so it was erstwhile company, right? CA, Computer Associates, you must have heard, right? So it was earlier known as CA PAM, okay, but it got acquired by Broadcom and it came under Symantec umbrella. But it has been there, okay. You can say it has been there on the same time when CyberArk was there, but it has been rebranded. Delinea Secret Server, you must have heard Thycotic. Okay, it was earlier known as Thycotic. 2-3 years ago, two different companies, right? Centrify, okay, and Thycotic, they merged together and they rebranded them as Delinea. Okay, and there are other, companies also like IGA, like SailPoint and Savient also are coming with PAM module, and even this Zscaler, they have come up with PAM solution. Okay, so other vendors are also trying to come into PAM space. Okay, and yeah.
HashiCorp was also
Yes, yes, yeah, 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 yeah. So yeah, so I have picked these vendors based on the Gartner report. Okay,
yeah.
so many vendors, right? It keeps on coming in their chart and keep on going, right? There are other vendors, Manage Engine, Wallix, right? There are many, even for specific for SSH access, there is SSH priv something. There are many vendors in PAM space also. Okay, but these are the major one. Yeah, I see. Most of the organization will have CyberArk, Delinea Secret Server, Beyond Trust Source, this Symantec PAM. You will see these 4 products in most of the organization. If we talk about like how they are built, right? These are all Windows based. CyberArk, Beyond Trust, Delinea. This is Linux based. These are appliance based. These are CyberArk and Delinea are like hardened. Like this is CyberArk is it's Windows based. Similarly, Delinea. Okay, these are Linux. This is also Windows based. Okay, this is like personal experience. If you talk about from security perspective, this Symantec PAM is more secure because it's based on Linux, and we see very less vulnerabilities in Linux. Okay, but from the user perspective, the UI is very old. Okay, the Delinea has very innovating. They have very intuitive UI actually. Okay, CyberArk also a good UI. Yeah. Any questions? Yeah, queries?
Pankaj,
Yeah.
Kishore here. So I have
Yeah.
one question, that what is the difference between the Converge IGA plus PAM solution like Savient and the PAM only solution like CyberArk Beyond Trust?
Yes. So it's converged, right? So they are providing, with their IGA capabilities, they are also providing PAM. Okay. So these companies are just coming up with, so they are, not every customer can afford CyberArk. It's very costly. Okay. Not every customer can afford Delinea. So, it will be based on customer requirements. So, so they are trying to give the, one solution for all IAM. Okay. So just that they have included PAM. Okay. I've not used them. I've not seen any company using it till now in my experience. So it's just coming up. Okay. Okay. Converged, IAM solution with PAM. Okay. Yeah. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, Pankaj, like if they scale up in future, any organization,
Mhm.
then they need to use a separate PAM only solutions only, right?
It based on their requirements, like security, like how focused they are on security, right? Uh, Most of the organization, if you go back to history, right, before this CyberArk came, right, and there was a concept of PIM, privileged identity management. Okay, now in current scenario, PAM is almost synonymous with CyberArk, but that has not been the case. There were many other tools. Okay, like Tivoli Identity Manager. Okay, it was one of the oldest tool, Tivoli Identity Manager. They were not solving, they were not giving full PAM capability, but they were giving vault-like facility. Okay, then CyberArk came with some patented technology. Okay, okay. So it based on person to organization to organization how they want to secure their privileged accounts. Some small organization may go for Azure, right? PIM, right? If it suffice their requirement, right? You know, there is a feature in Azure, right? Where we have just-in-time access. Okay, so it based on, you know, how what is the, you know, their security mindset, I would say. Okay, and what is the regulatory requirements? So all this boils down to the regulatory and compliance, right? If they are not able to meet the, you know, regulatory compliance, they will not. They will. Their license can be, you know, removed, right, to do the business, right? So yeah. So that is the actually it. You know, and how big the organization is, like they will have more regulatory compliance, they will have more business, so they will focus on, you know, uh, privilege account, right? And like personal experience, I have seen that organization, you know, work in very, you know, reactive manner. Okay, they don't focus on privilege account initially, even in in your regular, you know, as a PAM administrator, right, in your day-to-day job, there will be much, you know, highlights or lowlights to show for from PAM perspective to customer, because it will work normally. Suddenly there will be P1 incident where, you know, uh, some account was not working. Okay, so depends on organization to organization, right? So I see, like, uh, the compliance and regulatory requirement as one of the key factor, okay, which you know, forces them to uh, go for a, you know, separate PAM product instead of using a consolidated PAM product. Okay.
Yes, Pankaj.
Yeah. Anyone has, you know, has any input, like they can add on this, but that is what my understanding is. Okay. Any feedback, any questions, please feel free to ask.
Pankaj, can I ask some questions on certifications actually?
Yes. Yeah, sure.
So, do any of these products require us to be like working in them at present to gain even a like basic certification? Like, see, in SailPoint, we need to have that identity now to be certified. Sorry, the identity. What is that? SailPoint. What is that? The
IAQ.
yeah. Like we need to be
Identity
working.
now. Identity now. Yeah. Okay.
We need to be working in that to get that certification, right?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
any of these products have similar criteria, or do they have an option where I can get trained and certified?
Yes. Personally, I'm not big fan of certification. Okay. Because I've seen that people are, you know, getting certified by using the dumps. Okay. Somebody likes that. Okay, that's fine. But yeah, CyberArk has requirement that to open, you know, certain cases, they need to be certified, Defender or Sentry, I don't know, but they need. And why that they have that requirement? Okay, I got to know because, right, whenever we are opening a support case, right, they are asking for some minimum, so there, right, some questions they ask, right, minimum we should you know, give that you know, information in advance, right? So if say you know, this account is not getting you know, rotated, right? So we need to provide, right, what kind of account, do we have a, you know, reconcile or password reset account, right? Okay, is there any some kind of basic information we need to provide while, you know, opening a case? But what happened, right, in initial years, people used to just create the case, okay, just like this is not working, please help us, MP1 ticket. So and later on, a lot of when this you know, vendor support contacted the user, they have to, you know, get those basic information. Okay, so to avoid that, CyberArk has done that. That okay, so CyberArk assumes that if someone has done certification, right, she you know, knows the product well and knows which information is first information, right, which is crucial for working on any support case. So yeah, CyberArk has that requirement. There is no such requirement in Delinea, Symantec, or Beyond Trust. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But for my, you know, my experience, whatever experience I have, if you are, you know, good with the endpoints, right? How the accounts, password are managed on different endpoints, Windows, Linux. There are different flavors of Linux, mainframe, AS400. Azure portal, right? If you know how those work, then you will be good to work on any PAM tool. Okay, it's just the UI different. The concept is same. Every tool has a vault. They don't call it vault specifically, but there is a database behind it. Okay, they will have different UI, different terminologies, but the concept is same. Okay, if you know the endpoints, how the account password works, password management works on endpoints, and then you can work on any of the PAM tool.
Okay, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you.
Pankaj, Sushil here again.
Yeah.
So right now, means like I'm new to this, all this PAM and all this. So for suppose any POC work, if you want to do using your IGA tool, so like in any IGA tool, SailPoint or something, we can install on our server and do some kind of POC. So like CyberArk or something, can we install on our local if we had, or for that we require any license copy only then we can do
Yeah,
it.
Sushil. Yeah. So whenever you are doing that, so you get a evaluation license. Okay. Ideally, you should be doing on some test server, not on your some machine. Okay, because it
Yeah.
can interrupt. Because CyberArk, right? If you implement it in your machine, it just allows one port, 1526. I forgot. The rest, all the ports are blocked. So it will not be a wise decision to have it installed on your local machine, but you can install on local server. Yes, they do provide evaluation license to do POC. Yes.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. Okay. If you don't have any other questions, I think we are good to
There's
close this
one,
session. Yeah.
Pankaj, yeah, there is one question in chat section. What are some of the scalability issues with PAM to adapt to the growing needs of organization?
Okay. So it depends on the number of privilege accounts. Okay. And number of users, right? So the licensing, right? Licensing works mostly on the users. Okay. If you talk about scalability, right? It will depend on the number of privilege accounts. So every PAM vendor has a different type of architecture. Okay. Let me give you about the linear secret server. So let me be honest. Most of the vendors are requesting organization to move it to cloud model, okay, subscription model, okay, instead of going for this on premises, right, perpetual license. Okay, so if you talk about, I've been talking about this Delinea Secret Server SaaS application. Okay, so it will depend on number of privilege accounts, right? So if you have around 6,000-7,000, up to 10,000 accounts, you can. So there is a component called something called distribution server. Okay, in this. Okay, so for accounts like 10,000 accounts, you should be good to go with 4 distribution servers. Okay, so in Delinea Secret Server cloud implementation, distribution engine is the component which needs to be installed on the near to the endpoints you are managing, near to the data center. Okay, so for 10,000 account, 4 distribution can do the job. Okay, and also if you are doing recording, right, session recording, right, so RDP sessions, because it has a lot of graphics and all, right, so it will capture more data, it will consume more data, right? So you have to increase the size. Okay, so but for 10,000 privilege account, okay, which is mix of Unix and Windows. Okay, so 1 TB of storage for this recording does the job. Okay, how hardly 2000 or 200 or 300 GB will be consumed. Okay, because you also purge those, right? Yeah, so yeah, it depends on the number of privileged accounts you are managing. Okay, and across which geography, right? Geographies are also involved, right? So maybe we are working for a project and it has client base on across the world. So you can't just have one instance, right, in US, right, and ask them to use that. There will be delay in access, right? So you can have different instances for different geographies, right? So you have to calculate based on the your environment and mostly based on the number of privilege accounts. I hope I answered your question. Maybe not 100%,
Thanks,
60, 70.
Pankaj. Yeah,
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
Please
Pankaj.
shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody has any question? Please feel free to ask, guys.
Pankaj, so this is Ritesh. I had one more question.
Hmm.
I've been listening to looking at the slides, and these are amazing concepts. I just wanted to ask you, are there any potential disadvantages of having a PAM solution in place? Like, let's say let's say high initial costs, or you're talking about complex implementation scenarios, or maybe administrative overhead, or maybe some kind of a resistance from the leadership's
Hmm.
end when it comes to implementing a PAM solution.
Yes, yeah, that is. I wanted to include that slide, but I thought, okay, it should come from some of the audience. Thanks for bringing that question. So there are challenges. Okay, uh, as I said, right, not every organization can afford CyberArk, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. If so, uh, they uh, they will take a lot of time in evaluating the tool they want to use. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
it can go for 3, 4, 6 months. Okay, one of the project I worked, like 6 months they took, you know, to
Right.
decide the tool, right? Because they didn't have
Mm-hmm.
budget. Okay,
Got
okay,
it.
yeah, and we, whenever we are onboarding, right? So first will be we prioritize the onboarding of all the domain administrator or Windows administrator root. They have
Mm-hmm.
been using, right, traditional way of logging in, right? RDP, save the password in text and just copy it. Okay, maybe they have the SSH keys installed, right? They use that. Okay, so they will be reluctant to use PAM initially. Okay,
Got it.
but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like it happens if you are implementing any tool, right? You
Mm-hmm.
remember, right? I don't know. Before Teams, right? We had
Mm-hmm.
Skype, right? So when Teams
Skype
came,
and Communicator.
yeah, right. So everybody, initially didn't like Teams, but over
Right.
the time, right? When they see benefits, they got used to it, right? So
Right.
same thing happens, right? When we ask them, show them, right? Okay, you have to click on this. You have to launch. They say, why I need to go to this tool? Okay, like they were very
Mm-hmm.
reluctant, right? But later on
Got it.
when we gave them training videos. Okay, and one
Mm-hmm.
thing about CyberArk, okay, which I
Mm-hmm.
noticed, I think it's with Delinea also, they
Mm-hmm.
also have a way to have same native capability. So user don't
Okay.
need to log into CyberArk portal directly. They can
Okay.
set up a file, okay, for
Mm-hmm.
RDP, and for Linux, they get a command wherein they
Okay.
launch the RDP session just like normal,
Mm-hmm.
clicking on that file and entering the CyberArk, their privilege account password. Okay, so
Okay.
CyberArk is doing lot of great. They are taking a lot of great initiative to make things easy for the system administrator. Okay, but
Mm-hmm.
as you said, right, we get a lot of a backlash, I don't know what
Got it.
the
Got it.
word,
Pushback.
right? Yeah, pushback. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Got
from
it.
the domain administrator especially, right?
Got it.
It is a challenge. Like in my last project, it was a challenge to make them use of this spam product. Okay, so when we
Mm-hmm.
started onboarding, we just gave them check in, check out. Okay, say they can use
Mm-hmm.
the password view. Okay, but later on,
Mm-hmm.
after all the jobs were like we onboarded most of the team, then I went back to that use case and understood them what is the requirement and do a lot of testing, and eventually we were
Got
able to complete that. So we will see that back push from all users administrator, because we
Mm-hmm.
are we are changing the way they are using it, right? They're using it for so many long, right? uh, yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
But
Makes sense.
in
Thank
that,
you.
like,
Thanks a lot.
yeah, there is a like if the the product owner or director of that organization, right? I am director. We get some help from them, right, in pushing that a team to adopt PAM. That helps a
Right.
lot. Okay, right.
Got it.
So that
I
is a
think it's all
challenge. Yeah.
about awareness also.
Yes, yeah. We we like personally, right, like if we create the document, right, nobody in today's world, nobody likes to read the document. Okay, then I thought, okay,
True.
let's create a video. So I created a video instead of a document, which people liked it, and everybody start using PAM. Okay, so you have to come with new strategies to make them aware of benefits of PAM, right? you know
Right.
right. Even the application account, right, they were using embedded credentials. Okay, they say we don't want to log into this PAM and do the check out the password. I say, hey, you don't have to do that. We'll provide some utilities which will, you don't need to log in, you just need to launch them, and they will be able to fetch the password from PAM in real time. We did the
Got it.
POC, we implemented it, and yeah, they were happy using it. So it takes
Got it.
time. Yeah.
Yes. All about efficient processes, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Pankaj. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Such an insightful session, Pankaj, and
My
very well prepared presentation as well.
that is the best I could do, Kishore. Yeah.
It was very
Thank you.
excellent, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
like got to know more about like in-depth concepts and new terminologies and everything. And that was also session. Too much, like lots of question and everything.
Yeah, it was really helpful. Thank you, Pankaj. My favorite slide was the one where you integrated different components, right? Sorry, the different products, because that gave me an idea like, okay, so this is how they come together. It was really
Yes.
good.
Yeah. Yeah. It's about all building an ecosystem. Okay. So yeah, we need to work with other IAM teams. Okay. We are one team. We need to work with them. Yeah. To make things easier for everyone. Yeah. And be compliant. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay. If that's it from my side, guys, and it was a great session. Like it is learning for me also. A lot of questions asked, and I was able to answer them fully. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Pankaj, for the wonderful session. And you can watch this session on YouTube as well, guys. And tomorrow as well, we have one session on common vulnerabilities in the uh, OAuth solution. So see you tomorrow evening as well at 9 o'clock. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Pankaj, for putting your efforts and making the session wonderful. And yes,
My pleasure. Thank you all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you,
thank you,
Pankaj.
Pankaj.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.